You want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
I could not believe my ears.
In this house, wherever the rules are disregarded, chaos and mob rule. It has been said today, where is bravery? I'll tell you where bravery is found and courage is found. It's found in this minority who has lived through the last year of nothing but rules being broken, people being put down, questions not being answered. And this majority say, be damned with anything else. We're going to impeach and do whatever we want to do. Why? Because we won an election. I guarantee you, one day you'll be back in the minority and it ain't gonna be that fun. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Friday's Finest. Yes, just a few minutes, James, and I will explore all the deep and dark topics. We will go into everything that has been going on in the last week, from the visually absurd to the just absurd. Okay, there's just strange stuff going on. You can't miss this week. I mean, there's just things that really we're going to get into, and that make Friday its best. But this week has been again another sort of just scratch your head moment week when you look around at the things that are going on with the presidential cycle, with the endorsements and who's endorsing who, and the Fox and Dominion suit got settled. Fox paying out a large amount of money. A lot of things going on in the world. A lot of stuff that we've had here on the podcast for you to continue to digest as far as real world next week. I can't wait for also just a preview of next Monday. You're going to have Frank Myers. Frank Myers, a wonderful songwriter, wrote songs like You and I got Mexico, I Swear, which was actually a dual hit on the country and AC charts, and some other stuff. Great conversation with our friend Frank, and you'll want to miss that on Monday. So looking ahead to that. But in just a few minutes, we're going to get into possums. We're going to get into baseball and moving. We're going to get into toddlers throwing popcorn. It's just another Friday on Friday's Finest. We'll be back in just a minute. Hey, everybody, you know about Legacy Precious Metals. Legacy Precious Metals, you hear from them. We talk once a month. We talk about Legacy Precious Metals, talking about precious metals being part of your portfolio, how they're your navigator. Well, now they're not only navigating in a new way, they're actually giving you a new way to buy gold and silver. In fact, Legacy Precious Metals has developed a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in real gold and silver online. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped to your door. I'm more of a ship to my door kind of person. I enjoy having them with me, but they can do it either way, and you can now do it online. It gives you real access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time, anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar. This puts you in complete control of your money. This platform is free to sign up for. Just visit legacypminvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and is against a volatile stock market. A true diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but a different asset class. This platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Remember, do as I have done. Go to legacypminvestments.com and get started today. And now you've got a new tool to help you along in your investments. Hey folks, MyPillow is excited to bring to you their biggest bedding sale ever. For a limited time, you're going to get the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98, a set of pillowcases for only $9.98, and rejuvenate your bed with a MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99. $99.99, get a mattress pillow topper. Look, they come in all sizes. They got all kinds of stuff, blankets. They've got duvets. They've got quilts. They got comforters. They got body pillows. They got bolster pillows. They got all that big discounts. And also, they're extending their money-back guarantee for Christmas until March 1, 2023, making them the perfect gift for your friends, your family, and for everyone you know. Folks, and just from a personal note here, I have the Giza Dream Sheets. They're on my bed right now. I slept on them last night. Some of the best sheets that we and Lisa and I have ever owned. They are worth, at this price, they're a steal. My wife and I have bought bed sheets, linens at much higher cost. It's supposedly much higher quality. These from MyPillow are at the highest of quality, and at a price like this, you can't beat it. So go now to mypillow.com, use promo code Collins, COLLINS, or call 1-800-986-3994, and you'll get huge discounts on all the MyPillow bedding products, including the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98, and get all your shopping done while qualities last. And remember, put in that promo code Collins for these discounts. All right, James, we're here. It's Friday. We're throwing stuff, and in honor of some of today's topics on Friday's Finest, if I was throwing popcorn, we would be ready to go because it is just, that kind of week. How are we doing?
We're doing okay. No popcorn here, thankfully.
We got to jump in. Look, Major League Baseball is back. Everybody's happy. By the way, my Braves are doing very good, by the way. I think the Mets finally decided to start playing ball, so I get that.
We could keep playing ball if they didn't accuse our pitchers of doing the wrong thing. That was not pine tar, it was rosin. It doesn't matter. It's fine. We're moving.
Well, come on. Now, the umpires are saying that they still had it on their fingers 2 innings later.
Yeah, whatever. I don't want to hear it.
Oh, now, a sulky Mets fan. Wow, that's a shocker.
I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to dignify that.
Oh, you got to love it. I mean, what was it? What was it? As a cab driver taking me back to LaGuardia a couple of years ago, he said, and he was being dead serious. He looked at me and said, you know what Mets stand for? And I said Metropolitan. He said, no, Mets stands for making every team successful. I said, okay.
I'm going to mute my mic so I don't say the wrong thing.
That's the way we go back. All right, but we got 2 stories out here that we really that are really interestingly enough, and they one is Major League Baseball, but it has to do with our bigger theme that we're going to hit on here first, and that is, what is it, James? And I think you've heard me say this on a podcast before, but what is it that make people get on airplanes and lose their freaking minds?
Oof. I think it's the idea that you're in the sky and can do nothing about it. People think they paid for a seat and can do whatever they want. And also, people are horrible, and I stand by that. And as much as there are good people, you can even it out with the bad people, and they are riding the same plane that you and I are.
Yeah, let's just jump in here. The first one is the story that is developed early in the week. Jesse James Decker, who is a country music star fan, her sister-in-law is married to a Major League Baseball player. She's undoubtedly flying United Airlines. She has 2 small children. She's pregnant. And United stewardesses and stewards undoubtedly gave her some popcorn for the kids to eat, I guess to keep them, as you would, try to keep them pacified.
Sure.
Anyway, as young kids will do, the child, threw the popcorn or dropped the popcorn, however you want to say it, and this is the part that I don't understand from this, and maybe James, you can help me understand. The story goes that Anthony Bass is the pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, and this is who it happened to, but it's also Jesse James Decker's sister-in-law. And so anyway, they make her come back, and the story goes is that the flight attendant came back and gave her some wipes and said, you have to clean this up per the captain.
Right. So I read that too, where they gave her that or trash bags or something, whatever they gave her to clean it up.
But they blamed it on the captain.
Yeah, that's nonsense.
She tried to pass it off on the captain. Have you ever heard of a captain who gave one, would have actually known, unless it was somebody fighting in the back, about somebody spilling something? I mean, I've been on planes before and people spill stuff all the time.
Doug, I had somebody scream on a plane, bloody murder, and the captain didn't move. I don't think he cares about spilled popcorn. Listen, I'm all right. Tell me how you feel. All right, tell me how you feel about this, because I'm a little confused for a couple reasons. First, I don't want to make it like the stewardess's job is to clean up, but it kind of is, right?
Yeah.
And this woman, it also depends on how the woman, the mom, treated the staff. Okay, because if she was awful to them the whole trip, then I could see them maybe being a little bit iffy about it. But you give a woman who's pregnant with 2 kids popcorn, what did you think was going to happen? They were going to keep it all in their lap and use napkins? They're children.
Yeah.
They're dumb. They spill popcorn. Adults spill popcorn at the movie theaters.
I'm shocked they didn't throw the popcorn.
Honestly, the idea that you'd go back to a pregnant woman with 2 kids, give them popcorn, and then walk away and come back and force them to clean it up. Honestly, I've worked in a lot of bad, annoying jobs. You have no right to ask them that. Even if they were terrible, you have no right to ask them that. But I didn't hear anything like that. It sounds like these people just were blaming the captain on something they didn't want to clean up.
Well, it was. And my question is when does the stewardess, this flight attendants, and we'll just take the more generic term, I mean, maybe United is different than Delta. I'm on Delta about every other week. And
same here. I don't fly.
They have a crew. They have a crew that comes in and cleans the plane after we touch down.
Yeah,
and I've been on planes where
there's missing information.
yeah. I mean, I've been on the planes where they have had. I mean, I hate to be gross, they vomited. I've been on planes where people get sick. I've been in planes where they have spilt food. I mean, this one again, but it goes back to something, and I'm not meaning to single out here. I mean, Southwest Airlines has made enough headlines for everybody, but doesn't it seem to be? And I'm just stating this as my perception and not a reality. So for any the following airlines as lawyers who want to take issue with this, it's just a perception that if there's something to do with beating up a passenger, throwing a passenger off an airline, or making a pregnant woman clean up a plane, it's United Airlines.
Yeah, and it is always United Airlines, and I'm surprised how many people were on United Airlines' side. When this story dropped, I was shocked. Listen, I have worked a ton of terrible jobs. Okay, I've worked jobs you never want to work.
Yeah.
Never once has I've had conversations with a customer. I've been angry at customers, sure. But if somebody spilled, let's say I was working at CVS like I did for 3 weeks until I walked out and quit. Let's say I'm working at CVS and somebody spills popcorn in the back. Am I going to make the customer clean up the popcorn? No, it's my job. I get paid to do that. These are stewardess, and like you said, somebody comes back and cleans the plane up at the end. Unless they put 8 movie theaters worth of popcorn on the floor here, I imagine it wasn't that big of a pickup job for a couple of kids.
No, have you seen the pictures? There's actually Twitter pictures.
I didn't even see the pictures because I couldn't even fathom. Also, we're forgetting about the fact this woman was pregnant. Like,
yeah,
have you been around pregnant people? They're not the most mobile. They're not sprinting, and with 2 kids on them, I cannot fathom how horrible that customer service is.
Yeah. Well, and again, it just goes back to this whole thing. Now, look, it is just on airplanes. Here we get this whole deal and cleaning up. And again, there's some saying, well, you're just being privileged. You want to clean up. Look, if I spilled my drink on a plane, I sort of clean up. I'll help. I'll get some paper towels, whatever, and I'll clean up as best I can. I don't worry about. I'll be frank with you. I don't worry about is it staining the carpet or anything else. I don't have the tools to fix that. And it's just like being in a restaurant. That
things happen.
My question is people. I mean, for those of you who fly regularly, that going in a restroom on a plane is a wonderfully hygiene area.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'm being very facetious here. I don't see them making whoever comes out of the plane give them a bottle of Clorox and go back in there and clean up after themselves.
No, this is
again,
an odd situation.
It's very odd, and you happen to have it with somebody who is known anyway, right, and then also having famous relatives as well, which makes it even worse. Again, later on, the pitcher Anthony Bass has said that United provided the popcorn and it wasn't even his wife, and that later on they said that United was going to handle the situation. What bothered me the most about this was they said that they kept saying that the incident was said that again, going back to this, that the pilot wanted it to be done and the captain wanted it to be done. I've never heard. Now, if they were fighting in the back of the plane, I've heard that before. But I have never heard of a pilot giving 1 ounce of thought to a mess or a spill in the back of the plane. I just never have.
No, it's not. It's not real. It's nonsense. That's made up. It's the only answer. They didn't want to clean up. That's just it.
Yeah, that flight attendant undoubtedly had a very bad day, and which brings me to another story. And let's just get everything while we're on airplanes. Story came out, James, and I've sent it. You've seen it. I sent it to you and everything. And this one is the one, I guess, that bothers me the most. It's out of the New York Post. Everywhere we get good Friday finest, New York Post somewhere typically has it. This man on an Orlando flight on Southwest, okay, as if they didn't have enough problems, is flying to Orlando, and this baby undoubtedly screams for 45 minutes. Well, the bigger child, this guy, begins to loudly complain using cuss words and very foul language about the person as the plane was stuck in a holding pattern in Palm Beach due to bad weather. I guess they were, maybe it was bumpy, whatever it is. But the parent, began to scream. I'm not screaming. Do you want me to scream? I'll blanking scream. We are in a F10 can with a baby in another very strong cuss word echo chamber, and you want to talk to me about being effing okay. I mean, he continues this tirade. And they're telling him, you're some of the passengers, they say in the story, they're trying to get him to calm down, and they remind him he's yelling at an infant. And then he said, did that, again, very foul language, pay extra to yell? The man replied, I don't give a F, lower that baby's voice, F that. What in any mighty's mind, okay, and especially on an airplane, makes you think it is appropriate to lose your cookies like that?
Well, obviously the guy has a very vast vocabulary. And
very limited.
What's really funny is first of all, hold on. Let me say this. Did you see the wife's face or girlfriend that was sitting there? That poor
whoever
woman.
sitting next to him, it was like horrific.
Listen, we've all been embarrassed by our parents before. That is, I felt that for her, but my mom would never do that. My dad would never do that. My parents are pretty regular people. This guy just lost his mind. Like whatever was going on in his day, whatever happened earlier that morning or that night, whatever the flight is, something you can't. First of all, that person is in a mindset beyond he's already an angry person. Whatever the reason, that guy's a flight risk from the get-go. If you're freaking out about a child, babies cry. It sucks. We all know. We've all been on a flight with a baby crying. If you're trying to catch sleep, you're like, man, if I could just open the door and jump. But to act like triple the child, by the way, his screaming didn't help the child stop screaming. It only made it worse. And the guy who took the video, it was really funny. Because you can hear him cursing, and then you can just hear in the background the baby still crying, which kind of made it a little funny. But in all seriousness, people feel they're validated by the fact that they either paid for something or that they truly believe they're in the right about something. We've all had passions, but I've never been passionate about something the way this man was passionate about that baby crying in my life.
Yeah. It's the thing that gets me about this whole story. And again, I tried to step back here for a second and say, okay, everybody, for somebody to react this way, and let's go back to, and this may be a life lesson moment for us all. Okay. The behavior completely, in my mind, unacceptable from the flight attendant. And unless I'll be frank, and I'm like you. Now, if she had been abused and talked about by this, past the lady with the kids,
totally
okay,
good.
I don't you still don't excuse it, but you maybe at least understand it.
Humanely, you can understand.
Exactly. But the question becomes is why there's never an appropriate time for that. So my question is something you've alluded to, and maybe we all need to take a step back here, is what was going on in their day that made it so bad that they ended up on national news, international news for their behavior, and especially the guy who could not, say a word, 5 words without cussing. And, you really make me wonder. Now, if this is the way they are all the time, they need serious psychological help. Okay.
Yeah.
But if it was a one-off, somebody kicked his cat, his, mom, somebody in their family was sick and he was just having one of those horrific days, still don't excuse it. But at least you understand where they're in. Maybe, okay, he lost it. He had a horrific day. He's had a bad day. But again, I see this, and I wanted to use these two incidents, James, to say, I see this more and more on just normal flights. People, just being rude. And it's like, on an hour and a half flight or an hour and 15-minute flight, yes, you have the right to lean your seat back. But if you're going to do it, at least sort of go slow. Let the people behind you know you're going to do this. I read a story the other day. This guy just jerked his seat back and the guy had spilt a drink all over him. Folks, we all have our own deals. We're all in and as this guy who just went off the crazy land said, we're in a tin can at 38,000 feet. We're all going to make it through this. Let's just take a deep breath and remember some least modern civility. But, since the pandemic, James, and I've read some statistics about this, the incidences of flight attendants being harassed or even, assaulted, fights on planes has risen. And folks, this isn't the place to do this.
No. Doug, I never really went on planes. I went on planes when I was younger. Then I really had no reason to. My parents, we didn't like vacation far, and we like to road trip. We're road trip people. So I started getting on planes probably the last 5 years. I've been on probably 20 planes. Let's say 20, 30 planes. In that time, I've gone to Vegas, Dallas, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, California, blah, blah, blah. Out of those trips, there has been an inconvenience beyond belief on 10 of those trips. That's too many. On a trip to Vegas, I had a flight attendant had to kick off a passenger because they were screaming so violently for no reason. They were just drunk or incoherent or whatever. They had to be kicked off, and then another person kick off, delay the flight. One person coming towards the flight was so crazy that multiple security guards had to grab her and put her on one of those carts they bring for people who can't walk and drag her off. It was like a movie. And I'm telling you, I don't know if there's something about people getting on a plane thinking the law stops at the door. Let me try to do something. That's all I can think of. It's not because to scream like a crazy person, knowing that something's gonna have to happen. He could get arrested, no problem. There are so many negative outcomes to being a psychopath on a plane. Not to mention anything can happen on a plane, right? You could go down.
Exactly. I mean, you're already defying a lot of laws of gravity and life and everything else. And then, and also for many of you out there, drinking to help you fly is not a very good idea. Okay,
I beg
because remember,
I'm just kidding.
Whatever your personality is when you're drinking is the same personality you'll have in the air. And if you're actually more nervous or anxious in the air, it will actually multiply the bad in your reaction time. So, these people who get on a plane drunk, I don't, if that's what you have to have, then go to the doctor and get you some sleeping pills. Go get something.
I'd like to assume that I guess if we're trying to think of it on a human level, right? I guess the only thing I can think of is that somebody passed in his family or something so significant happened to him prior, and they're heading towards an event that has something to do. There are a number of reasons to get upset, but you only see this in movies, and now we're seeing it on planes pretty often.
Well, it just goes to this whole world. I mean, you didn't see some of the gun violence or everything else you saw 20 or 40 years ago. You're starting to see more and more now. It's almost like we've lost our sense of decorum, if you would, or reality. Look, this gives us a great opportunity to review some lessons for all of the Doug Collins listeners who want to know how to fly a plane. It goes back to everything I need to know about flying on a plane I learned in kindergarten. Be nice to people. Help people when you can. Look out for somebody else. If they need help putting their bag up, try to help them. If they need help getting in, move. do the things that are normal because you're all in a temporary space for a temporary amount of time. Dear heavens above, can we not act like adults?
Can we take one second to talk about how the bag situation has gone recently too? Have you put your bag in the wrong spot by accident or seen somebody put their bag in the wrong spot? So when I fly, I'm on. When I get on, I don't care if my bag. Like I'll put my bag at the very back if it's necessary. I don't care. But some of these people will fight you to put their bag somewhere. Like they're like, oh, there's no room there. You can't put it there. There's clearly a space. They come over and they throw their bag in. These people are insane. You know what? We need to have new rules on flights. If you're a jerk one time, you don't get to fly for 6 months at minimum. We'll change the rules. Once you start suspending people from doing things, they stop acting like idiots.
Yeah, well, you would hope, but I mean, again, folks, look, again, we talk about this. We can, we're not laugh about it because this is not behavior you want to condone on employee side or passenger side. But it just seems like, I mean, like I said, I remember stories coming out of the pandemic. And by the way, one of the reasons I wanted to do this Friday's Finest is this summer, they're predicting record levels of flying. I mean, they're looking at back to pre-pandemic levels. So, folks, take your time, get to the airport early if you can. That means that you leave work early. You leave your house earlier. Don't get to the security lines panicking because you got 10 minutes to make a flight and the lines are 45 minutes long. If you fly on Monday mornings, you know what you're getting into. Even if you make one flight a year, research it. Look at the times that are better. Get there early. Take some, snacks with you. Do whatever. But make it an experience that is pleasurable for you and for everybody around you. Because if we go into another summer and this is what we're facing, also, by the way, if there is a child on board, I recommend for everybody, take some music, take some earplugs, no matter what you're doing. Even if you don't watch the in-flight movies, listen to music. Cut the noise out around you. If this guy had just had some earphones in, he'd have never heard the child to start with.
You're right. You're 100% right. There's a show. I'm sorry. There's a show called I Think You Should Leave Now. And it's very funny. It's on Netflix, whatever. And the show, there's this guy who gets on a plane, and a guy comes up next to him, and he's this very old man. And he says, I've been waiting 35 plus years for this. And he's like, you cried on a plane and ruined my entire flight. And I finally caught up to you. And this old man just starts screaming at this guy in front of his face, sitting in the seat next to him to ruin his flight. And it made me think of this immediately because, this man lost it over literally the sound of a baby crying, which, as sad as that is, and as annoying as that is, to scream like an animal is so wildly inappropriate. Yeah. Anyway, we can move on from it, but just if you guys get a chance, watch that show.
You're the grown man. The baby has no control over it. You're a grown freaking man.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you know what's coming out of your mouth.
Just go over the baby and tell him to be quiet.
Hold the child. Do something. Make it. Or better yet, bring some earplugs on your next flight. After he probably gets through with whatever he has to deal with law enforcement on this one, we'll see. Moving on. Next big thing is we're in sort of this baseball mode a little bit. The Oakland A's, first and foremost, can't play baseball. They've won 3 games.
They have a AAA team out there right now.
Yeah, they've won 3 games. They're, I think, 8 to 9 games out. We're not even 2 weeks into the season good. Their stadium is horrendous. I mean, everything's bad. But now they have bought, it looks like, land in a shocking Las Vegas. They paid, they're getting ready to build. Agreement is for 49 acres on a site owned by Red Rocks Resort, the parent company of Station Casinos. They told the Las Vegas Journal a $1.5 billion, 35,000 seat stadium with a partial retractable roof will be built on the site. Adding the other developments, including restaurants and amphitheaters, are being discussed. The A's will work with Nevada and Clark County on public-private partnership to fund the stadium. Cobble says the A's hope to break ground by next year and hope to be moved into their new home by 2027. The Las Vegas Raiders now are going to have the Las Vegas A's, it appears.
or whatever they're going to call them, because that's a terrible name. You know,
Yeah, I've not really
it's a
understood
shame.
that.
It's a shame because I think if you want to watch good A's baseball, just put on the movie Moneyball. That's about as good as it gets for that.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, when they had the Bash Brothers and all the steroids and all the fun stuff. But honestly, like, we need to talk about the fact that Oakland just has absolutely nothing left. Oakland had the Raiders, which were their like everything. They go to Vegas.
Yep.
And the A's are their second everything. Yes, they have the Warriors, but the Warriors are now like officially in San Francisco. And then Oakland can claim them, and that's fine. They should, because that's all they have. But the A's are in trouble, and it's not getting any better, and they saw a chance to move. And I apparently, I don't know much about the fan base, so I'm not going to pretend they're a rabid fan base and deserve to keep their teams. But I remember a couple years ago when the teams were looking to leave, and the Vikings were in the conversation. I remember being like heartbroken thinking about it. So to all the fans that are about to lose their team, that is crushing, and I'm sorry. But listen,
well, it is.
They have to.
Look, the A's already have a AAA affiliate there, so it's not like they don't have a presence there. The interesting thing for those who go to Vegas, this is about a mile north and a mile west of the current facilities, like the Raiders Stadium and also the hockey stadium. But this will make LA, not LA, but make the Las Vegas now have the trifecta. They'll have a baseball team, a major league, an NFL team, and a hockey team.
And you know that means the NBA is coming next. They've been trying to do it since 2007, since they had the All-Star game there. They're coming, no question.
And by the way, the hockey team is really good.
The hockey team is really good. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe the Raiders with Jimmy Garoppolo will be good. I'm just kidding. Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. I reminded you of your heartbreak with your Mets. Now you reminded me of my heartbreak with
I forgot you were a Raiders fan. My bad.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Well, also, though, if it wasn't bad enough for Oakland, you know it's really bad when, James, share your story, because this happens with your beloved Mets. This is just too good to be true.
So the announcer, Gary Cohen for the Mets, I actually used to work with him when I did Seton Hall games. When I watch their games, he comes up and he says, we're not in our regular booth at the A's game because there's a possum that lives on the premises. Not like, hey, it's there this week. It's been there for at least a year based off the broadcast. And that's where he lives. That's where he nests. And they had to be moved to a different booth. The away booth for incoming announcers from the other team cannot go in that booth because a possum lives there. Say it out loud with me, guys. A possum lives in an MLB stadium that people pay money to go to.
Yeah. And it lives in the wall.
I can only
And it stinks.
It lives in a wall.
And it stinks. Yes.
They're disgusting. I lived in New Jersey. I don't see any out here. I'm sure there are plenty. But in New Jersey,
you got one in Texas.
What?
In Texas, you got possum on a half shell. It's called armadillo.
That's right. But I would rather an armadillo. At least they roll up and run away. Possums pretend to be dead, and then next thing you know, they're trying to gnaw at your legs. Possums are dangerous.
And they're just I'm sure we're going to get a lot of hate from the possum lovers of the world, but possums are just nasty.
100%. Listen,
they're ugly and they're nasty.
Still appreciate an animal. It's disgusting. They are the ugliest creature on the planet. I mean, that's not true. I'm sure there's uglier, but I just can't think of one right now. But possums are awful. They're bigger rats, and they're uglier, and they got their white fur is just covered in dirt. They're awful. And then they just keep breeding all over the place. No, wait. First of all, the fact that possums are just everywhere, proving my point, they're in California, New Jersey, and probably Texas. Possums just are going to outlast us all like cockroaches.
Oh, yeah. Well, what bothers me is is a major league franchise who's now bought $1 billion worth of land or whatever and getting ready to do $1 billion project for a baseball field in Las Vegas, said they put out some traps, but they can't catch the possum.
Yeah, I'm sure they can't kill it for whatever reason. Fine, if you don't want to kill it, fine.
But just don't tell anybody. Just quit.
I'm just saying, I'm sure there's some stupid rules where you can't kill the animal. I'm sure of it. But what I'm saying is, it can't be that hard to catch a possum if it lives in a wall that you know it lives there. Get some peanut butter, put it outside, wait for it, dart it, and then drag it outside and bring it somewhere else.
Yeah, and it actually showed itself at the Athletic. You know, the A's were playing the Angels, and the alley, I guess the possum came out.
Oh, he came out to watch the game. Free show.
Yeah, and but they're actually. I mean, visitors in the visitor broadcasting booth now has a possum, and they're again.
Only
it smells. It's awful. It's nasty. I don't get it.
Listen, if the fact that you're like that, when you hear like, when they start a movie and there's like, hey, if you guys don't turn it around in 3 weeks, we're getting rid of this baseball team. It always starts off with an empty stadium. The team has like one win, and there's an animal loose on the field. That is literally the situation for the Oakland A's.
Yeah, it's just bad. So anyway, Oakland has become the jumping off point for everybody, all major league teams to go to Vegas, and all they're going to get left with is an old stadium that's terrible and ugly and reeks, and a possum living in it.
Unbelievable.
Sort of the story of life here. Real quickly before we get going, Damar Hamlin. Here's an interesting one for us to talk about. Damar Hamlin this week was supposedly cleared to play football again.
Listen, if they clear him, all good. But if I'm him, I'm stacking up my money, I'm investing, and I'm going home.
Yeah, I mean, for those who don't remember, Damar Hamlin was the one who was hit in what seemed like a very normal play back with the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals were playing in late December last year, and actually coded on the field. He was, if you remember, he was the one who actually heartbeat stopped and everything else. He's been now cleared to go back to play. I'm sure it would take a lot for him to get back into the mental mindset to be back on a football field. But I will say this: I want it to be Damar and his family's decision, not anybody else's.
Exactly.
And and it would be terrible if he got any kind of pressure or anything to come back or not come back. Either way, it needs to be a decision that he makes
died.
And he makes alone.
His quote was a bunch of people millions of people saw me die on the field that day. I'm just happy to be here.
Yep.
Can I mention one quick thing before we go?
Sure.
So I texted you about this. There's a TV show being put together by Ryan Johnson. If you guys have seen the movie Knives Out, he's the one who made that great movie. Will Ferrell is going to star in a golf comedy series where it will revolve around a pro golfer who becomes the face of a controversial new league competing with the PGA. So somebody said, this live golf thing is hilarious. We're going to make a show out of it. Who better than Will Ferrell to put in front of it? I love the idea. I'm going to watch the hell out of this if it comes out.
Well, we'll watch it up. But okay, well, while we've opened the door here for the last little bit, though, we, all of us beforehand, and we had several discussions about this and about LIV and PGA, and Mike McCall was on, of course, our resident golf professional.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that was said, and we actually did, I'm being fully open here, we said, who wants to show up to see Phil Mickelson shoot 75? Well, I have to give Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, and Patrick Reed credit out of the top 5 at Masters a little over a week ago. All 3 were in the top 5.
The PGA and nightmare was Brooks Koepka winning that thing.
Oh yeah,
they were.
And then John Rahm.
I don't. Even if they didn't believe in God, they were praying that day.
Yeah, this would just be too bad. But Rahm was too strong. But I wonder, and I have heard this after the fact. Mickelson for years. I mean, he's played 4-round golf. For 25, 30 years. I mean, he even though he's been out for a couple of. he didn't do it. Koepka's played it for a long time as well, but they're both out of it. There was discussion, did the 72 hole and the way they had to play it again with the weather delays and everything else, did that affect, Koepka in the long run? I'm not going to say it did, but also you can't say that maybe it didn't either.
That's right. You're right. You're 100% right. I'm looking forward to the next big tournament where everybody's back because it's going to be fun. It really will.
Yeah, and speaking of which, Tiger made the cut 23 straight years, but he will probably not be making any other tournaments this year. He had surgery this week on his ankle.
That's right.
And he will be out, fused 2 bones in his ankle. It looks like he'll be out for a while going forward. But, again, I think if you're out there waiting for Tiger to make this miraculous comeback, I don't think that's, he's going to play. He can play still good, play good golf, be competitive, but probably not go on the tear that he did. And it was really sad to watch him because he was really hurting in that third round with the rain and the wind and everything else. So I hope with this surgery it'll allow him to come back and have some good golf. I would hate to think that would be the last time, we sort of saw Tiger play competitive.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the last time, but you're right. I hope that too.
Well, it's not a lot.
All right,
folks,
Doug.
all I'll say is this. We're at the end of Friday toward the end of April. Be nice to each other. Take a moment. Remember, I did a podcast last week. Go back and listen to it. Hear something, take a breath before you respond, and then respond. And if you're on an airplane, be nice. Do the right thing. Help somebody else. Don't be the person that ends up yelling at a baby and see what you look like. Best piece of advice we could give you here on the Doug Collins Podcast for another Friday. Go out and make it a great weekend. Say goodbye, James.
See you, everybody. And if you're a jerk, travel by boat.
Travel by boat. We're out of here. See you next time on the Doug Collins Podcast.